Guys, these guys are big deals. You know, the U.S. Attorney is appointed by the President of the United States. So to have somebody like that with us today in our program is a real nice thing. And depending on how the meeting rolls out, if we have time for a couple of questions later, don't be afraid to ask some questions. I want you to relax, all right? And feel free to ask questions. But right now, I certainly would like the honor of introducing U.S. Attorney Mrs. Ortiz.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good. All right, good. Let's start. Now, how many of you know what a U.S. Attorney does? Anybody know what we do? Have any idea? All right, do you know what? Okay, Mr. Mayor?
U.S. Attorney's Office. So, does anybody know? I don't want to take the question from anybody.
I don't think they do, Mr. Mayor.
All right, I'll be a lifeline. I'll answer this one for you, okay? Oh, somebody knows. Go ahead, take it. Go ahead.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
Let's hear it.
Let me see. You defend people? Defend people in a court of law, right?
No, actually. But that's a good try. I have actually, I've been a lawyer for over 30 years, and I have defended people in a court of law. But as the U.S. Attorney, I'm a federal prosecutor. And I'm the chief federal prosecutor in the state. So we investigate and we prosecute federal crimes. We also defend the United States. When the United States gets sued, federal agencies get sued. The example I use is if you were to be run over by a postal truck and then you sue the postal department, lawyers in our office would defend the postal department. I feel like I was sitting where you're sitting now. I am the first woman and the first Hispanic to be U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts. I'm very proud of that fact. I'm very proud of that because I had a very simple beginning in life. I grew up in New York City. My parents are from Puerto Rico. And when I was born, my parents really didn't speak English. They spoke Spanish. They also didn't have much education. My mom pretty much stayed at home. My dad drove a taxi cab for many years. And prior to that, he had worked in a factory. And so, you know, when I went to school, I pretty much was on my own. So I felt like I was on my own a bit growing up. However, I will say this. My parents taught me a few lessons early on that have really helped me to get to where I am today. And some of those basic principles were, and it started just from the very beginning, had to do with how important school was, how important having an education was. I grew up in the projects. We didn't have much. And so my key to freedom, my key to success, as I saw it then, was to get a good education, to get through high school so that I could get into college. And early on, I knew I was one of those people that kind of always had some kind of vision in terms of what I wanted to do, that I wanted to be a lawyer. You know, I would see TV shows. Now you guys see Law and Order. In my day, it was Perry Mason. And you know, yeah, the old folks can remember that one. And so I thought it would be cool to be able to stand in court in front of a jury and defend someone or to prosecute someone and prove that they're guilty. And I wanted to do that kind of work. So I knew that in order to do that work, I had to be a lawyer, which meant I had to go to law school. And in order to go to law school, I had to go to college. And in order to go to college, I had to graduate from high school. And so it was one process after another. And I have to say that it wasn't always easy. It really just wasn't easy. My parents had challenges. I lived in a neighborhood that wasn't very safe at that time. So I didn't have a lot of freedom, so to speak. I had a very strict father from Puerto Rico who basically only allowed me to go from home to school and from school to home. And then as I got older, I spent a lot of time in the library, which I loved, and I ended up working in the children's room with young children in the library, in our local library, and I thought that was a lot of fun. It wasn't always easy, but I have to say that really staying focused helped me, and also getting help. You know, sometimes, you know, you look to others to help you, and I think that that's really important. I did well in school, but I didn't do well in every course that I took. And so whenever I struggled in a class, and it didn't come easy to me, I would get extra help from a teacher, from a guidance counselor, from another student that was just happened to be smarter than me, or that the work was easier for them. You know, some kids just happen to be better in math than others, just like some kids happen to be better in science than others. And so I always will look for help. I was very impressed by the story of one who was a former student here. His name is Christian Berrios, and he talked about the different struggles that he had had in life, even though he was a very young age. But he also spoke with tremendous respect and support for many of the people who are here, especially Tom and I believe Paul, who he had engaged with, and who have been there for him during some tough times in life. And so I think that that's important for you to realize how great it is for you to have mentors like this, role models, and support and help as you encounter different challenges that you come across. And not only just in high school, but as you continue on through college, because they seem to have a very long hand and a strong hand and a persistent one, where they stay in connection and in contact with students who they've dealt with. And so that's what's very impressive.
Is comparable to a lot of their stories as well. So as you were growing up, and you know that, you know, sometimes things may have been pointed against you, why was it that you were able to form a sense of direction in your life and make that direction happen? How did that happen?
I think it happened through a number of different people in my life. I have to say, one of the more guiding people in my life was my mother, who didn't have an education, who stayed at home for many years, and I think she felt like she had to stay home because she didn't have a professional career. And so I think she wanted for me what she didn't have an opportunity to get. She had wanted an education, and she wasn't able to complete it. I think she wanted to work in a professional capacity, and she wasn't able to do that because she didn't have the educational skills or the professional skills to garner that. And so I think she inspired me to do the things that she didn't have a chance to do, or that her father allowed her to do, because she had a very, very strict father who didn't actually let her finish school, believe it or not. And so felt that it was important for her to be home and be in the house. And so I think she wanted clearly something different for me. As I got older, I had mentors in school. I had a great guidance counselor in high school that really helped me to find a college. And you know, I ended up going to school. I went to Adelphi University, a small private school that I was able to get scholarship to and benefit from. And so I benefited from their mentoring and their guidance and their help, especially when I struggled in school. You know, I always wanted to do well in every class, and there was, every once in a while, I hit a class where I didn't do so well, and it was very, very demoralizing, very frustrating, and I felt like I wanted to give up, that this was going to keep me from becoming a lawyer because I wasn't doing that well. I didn't feel that smart, but I had mentors and people that would encourage me to go on, and that's important in life, that you surround yourself with people that encourage you, that believe in you, that motivate you, and help you to get what you
I want you to know about all of the adults that are here with us today, and how significant they are for Peaceful Coalition. So please give a hand to Superintendent Megan. I'm not going to go in any particular order, but right next to her is from CD Rec, Jameson Souza, and you know, Shannon Grant, we work very collaboratively with other agencies such as the DA's office, and we have Mr. Collane from the DA's office. Thank you, sir, for being here. Right next to Martha Wyatt, we have our former school superintendent, current school committee man, Rick Cavo. And next to Mr. Pable was our mayor, who you guys ought to be becoming very good friends with by now because he was with us yesterday and he came again today. We owe a big hand to Mayor Franklin. We're supported by our local police. We have our Deputy Chief Dupere with us today. Very close to the police department, and the schools have SROs. Is Mike here? Mike just got called. Mike Fogarty is our school cop. We have a school cop program, so Mike is stationed here, and he develops a rapport and dialogue with the entire campus. So he's an awesome tool for us to use all the time. He's very, very supportive of us, as well as the rest of the police department. They've been right in our corner. And I need you to know that Joe DeSilva is from the local housing authority. He, like Christian, is the youth services director under the mayor, Christian McCluskey. Joe is the youth services director for the local housing authority. And along with Jameson from Community Development Recreation, we have forged a very strong partnership over the years with the kids. And like after school today, our kids have an open gym between 3 and 6 every Friday at Community Development Recreation. It's all healthy activities, breakdancing, basketball, the whole thing, pizzas, everything's rolling out. But what's most essential is our continuing message that's coming from so many, different directions. We want you to understand what we're trying to achieve here with Peaceful Coalition as well. It's very, very strong. And kids, I would like you to give it up. I think Miss Ortiz put herself on the line in front of you. She spoke real, she spoke from the heart. She told you kids that when she was coming up, she was one of you, And so that ought to inspire all of us. We have a lot of kids here who are challenged with different issues. And we have some kids very, very academically talented that are not reaching their potential. They're challenged by the environment that they live in, the streets, other forces. So that's where the counseling that goes on through all of the work in the schools here is so critical. But your story was inspirational because you're really like one of them coming on up. You came up like that, and I think that's really important to them in case you wanted to follow up with that and maybe urge them forward.
How does it feel how doing being a lawyer and everything?
Yes.
How does it feel?
It feels great. And my parents are very proud of me. They feel very proud that, I worked through hard work and effort. I got to where I am today.
Circumstances in her life grew to be difficult, What does that mean to a kid like you?
Yeah, whenever you want to do something, you just start putting your mind to it, and don't slack at it. And, just everything's nothing in this world is gonna be easy. So in order to do what you wanted to do, you have to buckle down. You have to do what you have to do. You have to make sacrifices.
What about the interference that comes at all kids, from the outside? What happens about, how do you handle that interference that comes up and maybe takes you off your course?
To be honest with you, you gotta push yourself. People tell you that, push yourself until you can't do it no more. Well, this time you have to urge yourself. You gotta want it extra hard. If something's interfering with you and your dream, then you must move that out of the way so you can get to your dream.
Have you failed
Yes,
at
sir.
some points?
Yes, sir.
Have you achieved success at some points?
Yeah.
How does each one feel? How does the failure feel?
Feels like crap. I can't. You can't. When you fail at something, you're just you're depressed, you're sad, you don't want to do anything. But then when you pass at something, you feel accomplished, you did something. You may not do something good in your life. Everybody does bad things, everybody does good things. Once you do something good, you feel you realize that you did something good. So.
Any other kid want to follow up?
I just have a question for the group. You have several adults here that are from the community, from Massachusetts. This is your chance to tell them what some of the obstacles are for you. What are some of the obstacles in your life, and what can we do to maybe get rid of some of those obstacles or help you overcome those obstacles? What are some of the obstacles that you face on a daily basis? Jess, what's your obstacle? Because I was thinking about the two of you as I was listening to Ms. Ortiz, so for some reason you two came to mind. So I wanted you to maybe share your story.
dealing with like drama with my kid's father, honestly. It sucks that I'm not being mean, but when you're dating someone in a game, I can't go places with him. Like, I can't go out to eat with him without something happening. Or, Father of Celebrate America. We can't go there without people coming and trying to fight. So it sucks. It's like I'm isolated in my own house and can't do nothing. So I have to face that every day.
Other challenges.
Other challenges is, come on, yeah, Devon.
Can you elaborate?
You walk down the street and you gotta worry about getting bopped or posted up.
All right, Devon.
You walk down the street and have to worry about getting posted up by police and get arrested.
Not posted.
Is that enough for you?
Stop.
I don't know. It's like a daily challenge.
Why do you think that happens?
I don't know.
Kyle? Yeah. Go ahead.
See, I was there, so I know exactly where you're coming from. But at the same time, it comes from if you're a police officer, right, and you see someone with a size 5X champ on, pants to his knees, wearing a do-rag, who you gonna post up? Know what I mean?
My champs ain't 5X.
It's the image you portray when you go outside. It's how you present yourself.
Hey Kyle, you're right. You were there. I've known you for a long time.
Madam U.S. Attorney can talk about it. And that sentencing guidelines. If somebody's being prosecuted with a firearm or they're being prosecuted with distributing narcotics, what type of prison sentences are being imposed by federal judges, and what does that equate to somebody who's 18 or 19 years old today?
Well, I hate to speak in generalities per se because each case is different. And when the judges sentence and when we think about a case and focus on what factors we take into account in making our recommendations as prosecutors, we look to see that individual, first of all, you look to see the nature of the offense. Were they just carrying a gun? Was that gun used in any assaultive way? Was anybody hurt by virtue of that gun?
One summer, right? I was wearing the wrong color and I lived on the wrong block with like different gangs. And I grew up with a family with different type of gangs. So I was with me and my buddies and we was going to the store and we was all wearing red, which is the bad thing to wear around my block. So then these two guys, they're like older, they're like 27 or something, and they look like druggies. So I was like, whatever. So we was just like posted up outside the store because I was waiting for my friends to come out of the store. And then they came up to us and they were like, oh, we'll set you guys bang. And I was a girl, I was the only girl there, and they came up to me with a pocket knife, and I just looked at them like, okay. And then one of my friends, he's like stepped up, he was like, oh no, we don't bang and stuff. So I was like, it just shocked me because like, why would you step up to a little girl, like, So I don't know, like, if I was like, I like how you live in like your time. But like now, we don't go to the library. We don't go to the library and for fun. Like we just go out and like try to have fun without getting hurt or anything. That's it.
Very, very tough, and I have to say, in terms of safety, you guys, it seems, are much more exposed to dangers, certainly, than I was. I mean, in my time, I'd get maybe, hit, or my hair would get pulled, or, maybe a little knock on me, but nothing. Now kids are getting very, they're getting shot at and killed, and so it's really difficult. And I think that it's really important to try to, if you're living in that kind of environment, I'm thinking, what would I do? Be conscious of it, not wear the wrong colors. I mean, there's a certain limitation on your freedom to some extent. You don't go out alone, you go out with a group of friends. Hopefully that'll provide some protection. And you try to get yourselves out of harm's way. And if you're in a gang, or you're at the borders of a gang, or you have others that you care about, because, you know, gang members aren't just gang members. Gang members are girls and boys that have mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, girlfriends, children. And so you should think about those people in your life that are important to
So I
you.
want to remind everybody that tomorrow at Cuss Middle School is our 3rd annual Piece by Piece Summit between 10 and 3, 10 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. It's going to be a series of great workshops, keynote speaker, and then some color events in the auditorium. On behalf of the Piece by Piece Committee, Madam U.S. Attorney, we would like to present you and your office with a peace pole. Not this one, but we will make one custom ordered to you, because what we do on the peace poles is we have the message of peace, and it says, "May peace prevail on earth." But then we include it in 3 other languages of your choice. So if you could let us know what languages you would like inscribed on the peace pole, on behalf of Peaceful Coalition and the Peace by Peace Committee, we would like to send one to your office.
Thank you, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
How about giving Madam U.S. Attorney DA's office, Mr. Lane, thank you, sir, for being with us today. And of course, U.S. Attorney, you and your wonderful staff, Martha, I feel we become friends. Thank you for everything.